Hey, welcome to Jen's Garden. Today I'm going to be grounding some eggshells so that I can put them in the garden. Tomatoes have a tendency to suck out lots of the calcium out of the ground. So I'm going to be putting some back in, as well as some worm castings. But I don't go out and buy special calcium. I don't grind up Tums. I have done that, but I actually prefer to save my eggshells. I wash them out a little bit, let them dry, and then I get a bunch together and then I grind them to a powder. Here I've got about 3 months of eggshells that I kept, and they've been mostly washed out and dried, and I'm going to be using this rechargeable Ninja blender to grind them up. So this is a pretty straightforward process. I'm just going to crush them a little bit before I stick them in the blender. So they tend to grind a little bit better. I can get more into it. And give it just a second to turn on. That's the wonderful thing about this rechargeable blender. Whew. And I now have really finely crushed eggshells. I'm going to sprinkle this into the garden. You'll see that in a little bit later, but I'm going to keep trucking right along and blending the rest of this so I can get this into my garden. Now I'm using a Ninja blender that's rechargeable. You can use a spice blender. You can use a mortar and pestle. I just found that it works better. At least I see that the ground seems to absorb it, and it seems to blend better, and I don't see chunks of eggs months later when it's crushed like this. Can you crush it up with your hands and throw it in the ground? Absolutely. Do what's best for you, but again, I have found this works super well in getting that calcium back into the ground, particularly in those areas that have had tomatoes and peppers. So I just sprinkle it all over. You may ask why I'm doing this outside. It's because I'm messy at this, and as you can see, when you pull off the top, little bit of, calcium, emulsified calcium, or whatever you want to call it, the smoke that comes out. I don't want to breathe it in, so I'm outside. Also, I am not the neatest person in the world, so I am choosing to do this outside where if I get a little messy, it's not a big deal. It's easier to clean up. So that's why I'm outside. You can do it inside too. Whatever works for you. I probably have a couple more batches of this to go through. Thus far, I've got a pretty good amount of eggshell. This will definitely last me to do the entire garden, and then some. I'm going to mix it with some worm castings to put back into the soil. Last batch. And if you want to do this at home, again, I crack the eggs, I rinse them out lightly with water, stick them in my windowsill, let them dry, and I put them in a plastic shoebox with a paper towel at the bottom. And then when it gets full, I grind them. You can choose to grind them as you go. There's nothing wrong with that. I just choose to do it all at once outside. But again, if you're a neater person than I, you can do it inside definitely. But I now have eggshell all over the place. So, all right, last batch. All right, so there you go. Ground eggshell, crushed eggshell that I'll be using in the garden in a little bit.